Hi guys, TigerAssassin here from the BCR Racing team, and this is a new series that I'm doing where we're going to be doing some daily races. And yeah, we're going to start off here, daily race in Monza, 5 laps this one, only times 1 tyre wear, times 1 fuel, so no pit stops needed. And yeah, I'll be using the super racing concept for this one, so let's get into qualifying laps. Qualifying actually really difficult for this track in terms of just putting a clean lap in, because there's so many places you can make mistakes. Come around for this first lap here and I do a 47.9 and I was like, nah, that's just nowhere near good enough. So we get into my actual flying lap, and by this time I'd done many more laps in between. As you can see, I did a 47.7 and I'm like, right, I definitely need to improve big here, because I've only improved by 2/10 on my first lap. So coming through the parabolica, this corner here, you need such good exit out of here. So bring the car out wide, get a nice fast run down the main straight as we come across the line here to start the lap. Towards turn 1, and yeah, this is, you got to really get your braking absolutely spot on here. Just after that 150 board, slamming on the brakes. All the way across this curb on the inside, down into first to the second part of the corner. And then on the throttle nicely, and you can see that right on the edge of the limits in terms of on the edge of that green part on the curb. Before in case of going into the gravel there, you can easily dip a wheel in. Through Curva Grande, easily flat out corner here. Now braking just before that 100 meter board where that tarmac starts, all the way across the inside of this curb, across the inside of this one, that curb, very easy to bounce the car over, and very easy to lose the car on the exit or dip a wheel in the gravel. Through the first Lesmo, keep it nice and tight through there, out towards the edge of the track, and down into the second Lesmo, again using a bit of that curb on the inside. There's actually a green bit of Astro there you can use. You can even go a little bit onto the grass if you need to. Just be careful on the exit, because there's a big gravel trap there, and yeah, always a difficult corner. You're going to make sure you get your foot down nicely, because it's another big straight down into the Ascari chicane. And that Ascari chicane really was not the best through here on this lap, but I just couldn't get another lap faster than this. The rest of the lap I've pretty much done perfectly, so I had to do it perfectly again to get the Ascari chicane. And this was actually my fastest lap that I used for the races. Down in towards Parabolica again, braking all the way down into third, just hugging it actually close on the inside, taking an early apex, because the corner just opens out so nicely on the exit, and you can go all the way across here, across the line, to put in a 147.4. But yeah, qualifying just so difficult here, in terms of just making sure you get a good run out of the exit of the corners, otherwise you lose so much time on the straights. And yeah, I'll have to deal with the 147 for now, 147.4, which wasn't too bad. Yeah, here's a couple of mistakes that I made, which I thought I'd put in because they're quite funny. So I go deep into turn 1 and just get on the curb and then light up the rears, send the car spinning. I'm like, nope, not happy with that at all. First Lesmo here, this one. Through the first Lesmo, power down too early, and I just find myself understeering into the gravel. And I'm like, nah, had enough of that. Spin the rear out. Tell how frustrating getting a time is when you just go deep into this chicane. And then that was the biggest save of my career, I think that was there. See how close I got to the gravel there. I had to hold the rear of the car. But here we go into the first race, and now this first race, absolute carnage this first race was. And you can see I was invisible for some reason. I wasn't actually. I don't know if it showed up on other people's screens, but it was, I don't know why the game had done this. But yeah, running the nice Coca-Cola livery. Coca-Cola, if you want to sponsor me, just, you know, contact BCR and you can sponsor me. I'll firmly take the sponsor. But yeah, into the first race we go in the Coca-Cola Supra, as down in towards turn 1, and as I said, absolute chaos in this race, as you're about to find out. So towards turn 1, and this is where all the carnage happens, is turn 1, lap 1. And in this first race, you can already see it happen. I get punted, I punt the other guy, and he goes flying, and then I'm sent into a half spin. And yeah, unfortunately a chain reaction, which in the end took out about 3 cars, which is absolutely awful. I mean, let's just take a look at a replay. So this is from the guy who went down the inside of me, and you can see that just bang bang, and then this guy, luckily he manages to actually get away with it, but this guy here, the Deadball Supra, bam, 1-2, and then he hits me again, puts me into a half spin, and round I go, and somehow he comes out pretty much unscathed, that dead bull, the guy in the dead bull livery. And immediately right after, we're going to go into another piece of carnage. So we go down into the second chicane here, and this is all well and good so far. I take the chicane quite nicely. That guy runs deep Nissan, the Brit, so me and the Spaniard are going to try and go down the inside. So the Spaniard actually pushes him wide. I then go down the inside, and unfortunately I just tap the Spaniard, and then the Spaniard gets tapped by the Nissan, and then he gets sent into the realm. Let's have a look at this one here. So I tap him, and then he taps him, and yeah, I probably shouldn't have made contact there, but unfortunately it's just weird Gran Turismo physics. Just put him in the wall, and that was some carnage off of lap 1. So we've gone from 4th to 6th on lap 1 there, courtesy of the guy with the dead bull livery, who decided he wanted to send a nice cannon effect, a nice chain reaction, down about 4 cars on the grid. But I was pretty happy with my comeback actually in this race, and you'll see where I finish in the end. But through the Ascari chicane we go, and that guy on that right hand side serving a penalty. I think it was only half a second, so I think that actually might have been the dead bull guy who served his penalty there, so I think he got more than half a second. So in the end, justice served for him, and we're back up into 5th place after that, and we're within now slipstream range of the Frenchman ahead, Short Brain. So let's see if we're able to gain on him. And to be fair, we've found a couple of tenths on this straight. Must have got a pretty good exit out of the Parabolica down in towards turn 1. I actually brake quite a bit early there, but in the end I managed to go deep somehow. And yeah, just after the 150 meter board, that's where you want to be braking, not where that guy broke, where he decided to brake at the 100 meter board and absolutely assassinate everyone. But yeah, it's still now just over 9 tenths behind and in front. So we're kind of in the middle of the Frenchman and the German behind us. Actually, we have a really good run through that chicane and actually put us 1.4 seconds behind, which is actually such a good run out of that corner, and then 6 tenths to Short Brain ahead, who now also has a 5/10 penalty. Penalty is quite easy to pick up on this track, as you can see, in terms of just track limits. Second chicane, really, place where you can pick up a penalty. Ascari, another place where you can pick up penalties as well, just by cutting the corner. Now I thought, really, what am I going to do with Short Brain here? Am I going to go for a move on him? And I thought, no, he's just going to serve his penalty, so I'll stick behind him for now for Ascari. He runs slow through the entry. He actually loses the rear on the exit. I tap him slightly, but luckily enough for him, he doesn't spin out. Luckily enough for me, I get no damage, and I don't spin him out either, because I didn't want to spin another driver out with some contact. So luckily both of us came out unscathed there. And actually that launch that I got out from behind him has put me just over a second now into Parabolica to the car ahead. I need Tree Fiddy, who's ahead of me right now. It's an interesting name, as the Brit, 2 Brits here trying to battle for the podium, and this is going to be a battle for the podium towards the end here for the final 2 laps, because the 2 guys ahead just too far ahead now. Unless there's any kind of big mistakes, it wasn't like I was going to catch them. I was going to try and gain on this Ford GT here. The thing's the test car ahead of us. 6 tenths out of the first couple of corners here, turns 1 and 2 through Curva Grande down and towards the next chicane. Once again, still only about 6 tenths behind him. We get this corner pretty much perfectly again there. Yeah, really nice through there. Pretty much perfect. And we end up 3.5 seconds behind that guy. And yeah, right up behind the Brit now in the Ford GT, and we got a lovely run here through the second Lesmo down the main straight towards the Ascari chicane. And this could actually be a really good result for us, as yeah, looking for at least a podium in this race. And I looked for a move, I stuck my nose in, and in the end just backed out of it because I just couldn't get enough on the brakes, and I had a poor run through Ascari there. Just so much understeer. The Super really not wanting to obey, and I had my wheel at full lock, and yeah, just couldn't do anything about it. and just while we're kind of far enough behind him, I'd bring up the subject of the wheel. I've only recently got onto a wheel actually, in terms of properly. I used to every now and then, didn't really have a proper wheel for it though, or a setup, but now I've got a good setup going with my wheel, and a really nice Logitech G923, I think it is. Yeah, G923, yeah, or G920. Can't remember the name of it. It's one of the two anyway. But yeah, the one with the true force feedback. But yeah, really nice wheel. Affordable, but also really, you know, it's just really good. Does the job, and you get really nice feedback from it. So I'm only actually recently getting sort of used to the wheel. You see me in the league races, having some troubles. I've been having quite a lot of troubles this season, just in terms of finding my consistency, some pace, just making a couple of mistakes. But it's all the learning process on the wheel, and eventually we'll get there. But these daily races, actually, as much as they are carnage, provide a good bit of practice anyway, and just in terms of getting used to the wheel, putting in some laps. I mean, I know they're not the longest races, and we'll get onto the longer races a bit later. Hopefully next week's daily races provide a bit more in terms of, see, the Group 3 race has the one with the pit stops, so we can actually throw a bit of a strategy in there for the race. As I've got right up behind this guy now, actually got a really nice run through Ascari there. And we're coming around towards what is going to be the final lap of this race, and I actually remember this move quite vividly. 2.2 seconds to the Frenchman behind, so we don't need to worry about him. It's just between me and the Brit now. And I actually, in the end, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go up the inside on the exit of Parabolica, just get a better exit, just see if we can just get the move. And in the end, he was still alongside me, not to get the slipstream, but he didn't. If he'd slowed down anymore, he would have eventually just fallen too far behind. So it ended up almost being a drag race towards turn 1. And in the end, I brake slightly a bit later than him. He tries to go around the outside, hasn't got enough on the brakes. In the end, I just keep the position on the inside. And that is a move up into 3rd place for the final part of this race. And yeah, looking pretty strong for the final part of this race, and hopefully going to finish with the podium. And that we did, because if we come around the final corner here, nothing happened on the end of that lap. He'd gone close to me, but not close enough. As we'd come around the final corner, he was right up behind me. It was almost near a drag race towards the line, but in the end, we come across the line and take 3rd place. So qualified 4th, finished in 3rd. And in the end, it wasn't too bad at all of a race, but I've got absolutely murdered at turn 1. And yeah, in the end, I was overall pretty happy with the comeback. Some good overtakes in the end, and some good defensive moves. As we move into the next race, this race also started in 4th place. And this race was actually a lot better out of the 2 races that I did, in terms of, first of all, how clean it was. In terms of, I mean, I didn't get involved in any incidents. There were like 1 or 2 incidents, which we will see as we get into this race. But a big result for me, and I actually, really enjoyed this race. It's probably one of my favourite daily races I've done in a long time. So yeah, started in 4th place. Remember, again, another rolling start, so hopefully going to get a good start into the first corner. Someone putting cheese and someone put fair play please in the chat. And here we go towards turn 1. As yeah, already the leader swerving to the outside. He's like, no, you're not having any slipstream. Immediately goes to the outside. And the guy in second ain't going to go for a move, but I actually was tempted to go for a move down the inside there. I had a guy try it up the inside of me, but in the end the positions stay as they were, and you can see how much cleaner that was on the opening lap already. And yeah, it's going to get very close between those top 4, because in the end the 2 guys are going to battle, and me and Mr. Not Too Shabby are actually going to gain on these guys. And I was actually thinking of going for a move on Not Too Shabby here, but in the end I just backed out. Had a slight bit of contact with him, which didn't help me. But in the end, the top 4, top 5 almost here, just staying within at least 2 seconds of each other on lap 1, which is surprising. Seeing how many collisions we've had on lap 1, turn 1 in previous races. I didn't get the best of run here out of the second Lesmo, and that kind of cost me in terms of getting close to these guys. So not too shabby, pulling away a little bit here, and yeah, I wasn't too happy with that exit, so I thought I'm going to gain it all back in this braking zone here, and I got not too bad of a run. The run was okay out of Ascari there. As we go down now, 1.1 seconds to the Portuguese driver behind. So out of slipstream he is now, and it's between us, the top 4, the German and the 3 Brits, battling it out here for first position as we come around to start lap number 2 in this race. And I'm just slightly behind here. I'm 7.5 tenths now behind. Not too shabby. As we're going to go down in towards the first corner. Now this is where it gets interesting. These guys actually battling just allows me to go absolutely flying on the brakes, and immediately I get within at least 3 seconds of not too shabby behind, and then I just slip the rear outwards on the exit. But we still gain enough time really to just keep right in that slipstream. The Portuguese driver behind gaining on us a little bit. That exit just lit up the rears a little bit, but managed to keep the car in check, saved the Supra again. We had a nice run through here, it wasn't too bad through there, not too shabby, losing the rear a little bit on the exit as well. He didn't have the best of exits out of there. Into the first Lesmo we go, and yeah, not too bad, not too shabby as they'd say, through that first one. And actually a really good exit I got there out of that second Lesmo. It just shows what kind of how much time you can gain if you get such a good exit out of that second Lesmo. And you see I already gained about 1.5 tenths on the Portuguese behind. So really good exit then, down in towards the Ascari chicane. Absolutely spot on through there. I was really happy with how I took that chicane there. And yeah, I was spot on there. Starting to find a bit of consistency now, just starting to really reel these guys in, finding a bit of pace, and within a second of the leader now. That's how close we are here, top 4, within a second of each other. Wasn't the best through the final corner. Now the Portuguese driver is deciding he wants to join in, and this is where it's starting to get a little bit mismatched here as we go down in towards turn 1. Now this is it gets very interesting as so. Watch me in 4th place here. Just watch the 2 guys ahead. So they go. The guy in second is going to go down the inside. The leader, no, the guy in second outbrakes himself, goes across the track, hits the German. The German goes into the grass, and me and not too shabby are like, well, we'll see you later, guys. And we just go right through. I mean, we'll watch it again. Watch a replay here. As yeah, the Brit just goes deep, and then it comes back on the track. In his Jag, I think that is, and just couldn't get the car under control. In the end, we just go skating through, me and not too shabby. We're like, well, we'll take that. That's perfectly fine with us. As down into the next chicane, and here already it's going to get even more spicy again. So watch not too shabby on the inside. He's on the inside, gets hit by another driver. I hit this guy twice because he just finds himself flying down the inside. Somehow, me and not too shabby come out of this unscathed again. Somehow, out of all the incidents, me and not too shabby find ourselves 1 and 2. So watch the guy here in the blue Supra. He sends it, goes across the grass, hits not too shabby. He gets punted from behind. I hit him, and then he just got a wheel stuck in the gravel. And yeah, that was some moment there between all of us. A contact everywhere. Absolute carnage. I mean, not too shabby. Somehow just coming out of these incidents, both just unscathed and 1 and 2. And here was me gonna try and go for a move here. So I move to the outside. I'm gonna try and look around the outside here, but in the end, Shabby just has the inside. And yeah, in the end, it's his corner. Comes out of Ascari ahead, and I feel like there was a moment where I probably, at the time, was like, I should have waited. I should have waited for the first corner to go for a move on him, and I just tap him a little bit slightly there by accident. And in the end, that actually just allows me to go through as he goes quite deep. but not enough to put him off the track. So it was a little tap, but unfortunately the pinball physics of this game is just dreadful. So even a slight tap like that sends cars absolutely flying. As Shabby going to look down the inside, and he's going to meet the same fate as the guy before, as he's going to go way too deep into turn 1, and then actually get tapped a little bit from the rear here. And yeah, in the end I managed to come out unscathed and into the lead of this race, starting in 4th, in the lead now for this race. And you might think, like, 4 out of 5, surely there'd be any more action, but in reality there wasn't. The guy behind me, the German, got a penalty, and in the end I ended up with a 1.5 second gap coming into Parabolica. And yeah, as I said, a really good result, starting in 4th and won this daily race somehow. Through all of that carnage, I managed to come out and take the win. So yeah, that's actually, I really enjoyed that race. It was actually really good. And yeah, some good racing in there, some real moments there. Not too shabby in the end. Just didn't even finish. I think in the end he left, actually. Didn't even finish within the top 5 or anything. But yeah, that was the daily race around Monza. Turn 1 carnage is what that was. And just crazy racing between everyone. That's what the daily races provide. Just utter chaos, really. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, pop a subscribe to the channel, pop a like on the video, and yeah, I'm sure you'll be seeing me again for another one of these. Because, do you know what, as much as, you know, they take a lot of time to record and put together, they're actually really enjoyable to make, because then you get to drive, and that's the great thing. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.